do is put out some what we call the hacks. When you throw the rock and curl it, you have to put your foot against something to push off from. So we put out a hack at each end of the ice, and those have to be frozen in.
We start with basic hockey ice, which is flat. And since we're curlers, we don't want flat ice, so what we do is we call pebble ice. We have a backpack with water in it. It looks like a garden sprinkler. Throw water in the air, let it fall down, and it puts pebbles on the ice. That makes the rock go smoother and a little easier for us to throw it down the ice. We don't want hockey ice, we want pebble ice. So we have to do that first, and again, that has to freeze in for play on. So we get about a half an hour to prep the ice. Freeze with the pebble, we run rocks on it, we sweep up afterwards, and then we're ready to play a game of curling.
The game of curling is hugely popular in Canada, but it's also played all over the U.S. Here in Vermont, we have a curling club based in the Upper Valley that curls both in Woodstock and in Hartford. We aren't Olympic or professional curlers, we're just amateurs who really love the game.
So we'd like to share with you some explanation of what happens in a game of curling and show how you can join in. The basic object of the game is to slide rocks down the ice to what we call the house, which is just some circles painted into the ice. There are usually 4 players on a team, and each player gets to throw 2 rocks, with each team alternating.
Throwing the rock is a little harder than it looks. The player crouches with one foot in the hack and pushes off with the rock in one hand. While sliding on the ice, he slightly spins the rock to make it curl to one side or the other. While the rock is sliding down the ice, another player on the same team sweeps in front of it to make it go a little further than it would normally go. The sweeping removes friction by cleaning the ice right in front of the rock. You can't make it go any faster, just a little further. In the old days, players actually used corn brooms to sweep the ice. Today, brooms are made with a variety of synthetic materials for the head and a variety of lightweight materials for the handle.
There's an ideal way to throw the rock, but as we've said, we're just amateurs, and we all have different styles of throwing. For balance, some of us hold a stabilizer in our other hand, while others hold a broom. Some people have a problem crouching down on the ice. If you have bad knees or hips or back problems, there's a solution. You use a stick that attaches to the rock, and starting from the hack, we can slide the rock just as effectively from a standing position as we can from a crouch.
Some players have a connector on the end of their broom handle that attaches to the rock and works just like the stick. Again, that player doesn't have to crouch, and instead can throw the rock while standing upright. The same rules about starting in the hack and letting go of the rock by a certain point apply, but this allows more people to enjoy the game who might not otherwise play.
Another thing about sweeping, the sweeper can never touch the rock with her broom. If she does, that rock is burned and comes out of play. So sweeping has to be precise. We said that the object of the game is to throw the rock down the ice to the house at the far end. The rock is supposed to go to a precise spot, and sometimes it takes a little or a lot of sweeping to get the rock to where you want it to go. But sometimes you just throw a bit too hard and the rock goes right through the house. At that point, it's removed from play.
There's a line painted in the ice called the Hog Line. It's 21 feet from the center of the house, and it serves two purposes. When the player pushes off from the hack, he must release the rock before it reaches the hog line. If he doesn't let go by then, the rock is disqualified and comes out of play. We've just said that you can't throw the rock too hard, or it will go through the house and be removed from play, but you also can't throw it too light, or it will also be removed from play. If a rock doesn't fully cross the hog line at the far end of the ice, it will come out of play too. That's what we call hogging the rock.
Ice is slippery, but not slippery enough for curlers. That's why we wear Teflon on the bottom of our shoes. We don't wear it all the time like you might see in the Olympics. Most of the time we have a gripper covering the Teflon so that we don't hurt ourselves. But when we're throwing the rock, we want to slide on the ice along with the rock. So we take off the gripper and slide along on the Teflon. Not everyone who plays has special shoes. Some players just wear regular running shoes or something like that. They use a Teflon-coated slider that they slip onto their shoe just before they throw the rock. Many of those curlers keep the Teflon slider then in their back pocket when it's not in use.
Many new curlers fear the Teflon slide, but when a player uses the Teflon slider, she's already crouching close to the ice. How far can she fall? It takes very little time to get used to using the slider. So when the player pushes off from the hack, she has Teflon on the bottom of her shoe, Teflon on the bottom of the stabilizer that she holds in her left hand, and Teflon on the toe of her dragging foot. It can make for a really long slide.
Some players have a great sense of balance and can play almost the entire game with the Teflon on the bottom of their shoe, including while they're sweeping and while they're running down the ice along with the rock. But these players are the exception. Most of us opt for safer play. We keep the gripper on our shoes, except when we're throwing the rock.
We've talked about the people throwing the rock and the people sweeping. But what about what happens at the far end of the ice, in the house? That's where another player stands and directs the action. The person in the house is usually the team captain, who we call a skip. The skip holds a broom, so the thrower has something to aim at. At the same time, the skip will signal how hard to throw the rock, which way to curl it, and when to sweep. With 4 or more games going on at the same time, that can make for a very noisy place.
The skip can also help sweep the rock and often comes out to help the sweepers on the ice, especially if the rock needs help to cross the hog line. The skip can also sweep the opponent's rock once it crosses halfway through the house. That helps make the rock slide through the house and out of play. But the skip is responsible for a lot more than just sweeping. The skip must anticipate several moves ahead and know just how the rock will react when it reaches the house and hits the other rocks. He must have a good sense of the ice quality and how fast or slow the rock will slide. And importantly, he must know his teammates' limitations.
Guard's good, light's good. Back line.
The skip analyzes the rocks that are sitting on the ice and determines where he or she wants the next rock to go. He might want it to land in the house, or he might want it to stay out front where it will guard whatever rocks are already in the house. Or he might want to hit the opponent's rock to knock it out of the house, or to just move it out of the way. Placing a rock strategically in front of the house may mean that a future rock could knock that first rock into the house. So, Often the skip will leave rocks out front for later use. As you can see, there's a lot of thought and planning that goes into calling each shot.
Get to it!
In the house. Sure? Yeah, I'm calling guard. It's over.
Again, this isn't the Olympics, and not every rock goes where the skip wants it to go. So there's a constant shifting of strategy to outmaneuver the opponent. This makes the game more challenging, but this is a fun sport, and while we're trying our best, none of us expects to be perfect. A lot of the time we settle for plan B, whatever that might be, and a lot of time luck plays as much of a role as skill. We should also mention that curling in an arena is nothing like curling in the Olympics. Our ice may look really smooth, but it always has little imperfections that make the rocks do things that we don't expect, like curling off to the wrong side. It just makes for more challenges.
Here in the Upper Valley, we have weekly games from October to March on Saturday evenings in Hartford at the Barwood Arena and on Sunday evenings in Woodstock at the Union Arena. We hold regularly scheduled Learn to Curl sessions when experienced club members teach the basic game to anyone interested. With a little instruction and a little practice, anyone in good health can play the game. Check out our website at uppervalleycurling.org and call us or send us an email to reserve a spot in our next Learn to Curl session. We have several husband and wife teams in the club, so bring your spouse.
We'd also like to give a shout out to our friends in Rutland who have a club that curls regularly at the Giorgetti Arena in Rutland. We curl with them and they curl with us. So if you live near there, check out their website, rutlandrocks.com. They also have regular Learn to Curl nights for you to attend.
We hope that you'll just give curling a try. You don't have to be an athlete to play this game, but you do get a lot of exercise. Curling has often been called chess on ice, since it requires a lot of strategy. But for most of us, it's all about just making that shot, knocking out that rock, or scoring that point. We hope to see you soon.